Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a 5-point turnaround that includes the 3/4 front and the 3/4 back views, given a 3-point turnaround. So I've already made a video on a 3-point turnaround. I will put a link to that in the description. This time around, we're going to focus on creating those 3/4 front views and 3/4 back views. So what I've done to establish the position of the different components here is I've created some lines, and these lines essentially are lining up with all the major parts of the anatomy, like the head, the torso, the abdomen, the pelvis, the upper thighs, the lower legs, the feet, and so on. So we're going to use that as a guidepost. You can make as many lines as you need to help you precisely create your turnaround. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just pick a different color here so you can see the difference. When a character is turned on the side, there's going to be a section of the body that's going to appear closer to the viewer and a section of the body that's going to appear further away from the viewer. And that's an important component to keep in mind here. So essentially what we're looking at is something that's going to have a little bit of an angle, right? If we were to kind of just quickly draw in some arms, we can see that the arm that's furthest away is going to appear to be, slightly smaller, and this angle is going to be maintained. So let's see how that works in practice. We have resolved this character down to its basic volumetric shapes, and that's what I would recommend that you do too. So that way you can turn these objects easier without having to worry about detail. So we'll start off by saying, okay, here's the part of the torso here. We'll create some lines so we have points of measurement. Then we have the abdomen, and I'm using these guidelines to help me out. We have the leg, the crotch area, and these feet are somewhat spread out, right? So let's go ahead and establish the first foot that's closest to us. So we have thighs, we have knees, and let's consider the width of the legs. Right, so that angle has to be maintained. And then we've got the head of the character. We'll make it slightly more oval. And again, rough sketch. Keep it rough so that way you can check your proportions. This is my first pass at this. It is not meant to be perfect. It is merely just a way of checking my measurements. And I'll do a second pass to go over it one more time to make whatever corrections that I need. This aspect of iteration is so important when you're doing any kind of design work. And so we have an angle right here. I know that there's some things that look a little bit off. That's okay. It's my first pass. Let's do a 3/4 back view. In this case, that basic shape will have a slight tilt to it. You can think of the shoulder blades as kind of being in this vicinity here. And this time we'll see a little bit more of the butt. We'll see a hint of that neck. And we have our shoulder blades. This is the arm that's closest to the viewer. Thumb. And then the other fingers. Draw our line to give our base perspective. We have the other arm here, the other hand. Notice I'm not being super precious about, making it look clean and perfect. That's okay. So these legs are going to be spread out. We'll see the heel. And let's just go ahead and draw a set of perspective lines so we have a general idea of where that other heel will go to. And so this is me roughing those two objects in. So let's go ahead now and drop the opacity. Let's do a correction pass, and let's just carefully consider what we've done. So we've established the basic proportions. I notice that I have to go ahead and tweak the arms a little bit. If you look at what I've drawn so far, these two arms are roughly parallel, right? So this arm needs to be raised up a little bit more, which I didn't catch in the first pass. So I'll have that arm end over here. The direction of the thumbs are very important. You can use your own body as reference for this. And we also are going to draw a hint of that butt. Let's go ahead and thin out that. Okay, so do we have those checks in place? Let's make this leg a little bit smaller because it's a little bit further away. All right, these are things that happen when you iterate through your design. Totally normal. That's why I'm showing you how I'm doing it, because, it's kind of a misleading notion to say that you're going to get this in the first try. You're not. I don't, so I know that it's when you're learning how to do this for the first time, it can be a little bit challenging. Just stick with it. The important thing is that you keep going back to it and you try to fix the issues. You should always have a critical eye to looking at your work and saying, okay, what can be better? What can I improve? And so these legs are going to be thin-ish. And this is going to be a little bit smaller because it's going to be a little bit further away. Now I can hide my under drawings, and you can see that I have the basic turnaround. You can, add the other little doodads like the pouches and, all the other stuff that you need to. But those are details, right? Those are details. So don't worry about those details early on. And so the basic takeaway here is you want to make sure that you work with the underlying structure of the body and don't focus on details at the beginning. You can always go back. Once the proportions are correct, you can always go back and add those details. And that's where the fun begins. But you know, it's like building a cake or baking a cake. You want to start out with a really strong foundation first, and then add the icing at the end. It's the same way when you're drawing, you know, characters and trying to keep them consistent. So I hope you found this video to be of use. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one.